I will have to say that this episode of ReZero is probably one of, if not the very best episode of ReZero that we've had, probably ever. But there's been some really good episodes, but this one takes the cake because there is a lot of good moments in this episode that I'm just at the edge of my seat. Even though this episode was only 23 minutes long, it felt like it was so long because so much information and so much that was happening was in it that by the time it was over, I'm like, oh, it's over already? I mean, I just want so much more of ReZero because it's just gold each and every episode. Through Emilia, through Subaru, through Princella. I mean, shoot, in the beginning, the trick on Lust was just so sweet that, I mean, I'm still on the fence with Al, but I gotta say, he shows up when he needs to, but there's still something about him that's not totally right. And I am looking forward to that one day, one episode where we learn about Al, his past, or what's going on, like what makes him him. But that is gotta be another story for another time. There's a lot that I could sit here and talk about that will take up way too much time, but I'm gonna blow through this. Before we actually get into the nitty gritty of things, I do wanna say one thing about, was it just me? Or was there some odd camera angles in this episode that was like, well, that's a very interesting choice. This episode definitely was that meme where, hey, isn't it weird some anime how they have weird camera angles while, you know, dialogue is happening? And then you're like, no, I have no clue what you're talking about. And then it shows like an upskirt or something. No, this episode had moments I'm like, well, that's a director's choice. They really, showcased Emilia, a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, but, you know, maybe I was the only one that noticed this, but let's move on. All right, so before we get into the nitty gritty of things, there was another thing I noticed, eagle-eyed people probably noticed this as well. They changed the main theme song. There was a slight change. Now that we know the sword fighters and who they are, they no longer showed them donning their mask and actually showed who they were. So it's like, okay, all right, I'm actually glad that they made that small note because it makes me wonder if they're going to make other small changes as the episodes go on. Like, what if they finally kill off Greed or Wrath or any of the archbishops that, do they like take them out of the theme song or change the frames around? I don't know, but I do like it when anime do that they have a slight change or even a major change to the theme song that makes you guessing and wondering, ooh, what's going to happen next week? What else are they going to do? So I thought that was pretty nice. But the biggest thing I take away from this episode is I am wrong. I'm not wrong many times, but I am wrong for the way that I thought about Subaru and Emilia. I dare say that Subaru in this episode showed some huge strides in intelligence, and Emilia showed some huge strides in her battle prowess. Like, up until this point, to me, it felt like Emilia was only really, really strong if she had Puck. If Puck was accessible, like a lot of her power came from Puck and she was able to do some really, really strong ice moves. Here, she's just like not only doing all these ice moves as things are going on, but she's able to use her intelligence and battle prowess to use ice in a different means that is necessary. I'll have to say the whole like ice skating thing down the water flow was actually a pretty good point. And Greed over here looking like he's a Terminator, like T-1000. Like, that's why Subaru's like, dang, that looks creepy. Yeah, because he's not like skating. It's like he's just walking on the ice, but gliding as he's walking. And of course, Emilia's hit him with everything that she can, that I'm like, wow, okay, well, all right, great. But it's just the different styles and different things that Emilia did. Even the huge ice glacier that they dropped on Greed and how she was able to manifest that. I was like, wow, she could do that herself without Puck. I had always thought Puck was a vital necessity for Emilia in order for her to manifest more of her power, but apparently not. And then Subaru coming off and it's like knowing Latin of the stars, and he's like in what, high school, that moment when Subaru was like, oh, it's known by another name. That's where he revealed it later. That was the lion's heart. That was part of the name of that star. He was able to realize like how greed uses his power. And honestly, if you ever check out my reaction, I did say in the beginning of the episode, like, is he able to freeze like his cells around him? I didn't think he was freezing like his whole body, but I was thinking like maybe, you know, the cells that are in your body is able to keep him young, like he's young forever because he's able to stop and pause it. But I didn't really think that he's able to pause everything. I was really suspect when he took the water, like when he's able to grab water and lift water, I for sure thought he was going to go grab the ice cube that Emilia just dropped on him. Like most people, if you're going to show like strength or something, that would be the thing you go for. It's already frozen. It's already in place. You just grab the hunk of ice, and I thought he was going to throw that at them. When he came up and it was like not even a bubble, but just basically formless water, I was like, wait a minute. That's the first time we've seen a power like that. So thus, I was like, that is a little sus, especially when he's able to kick the water and it comes up. All the different things that Greed does, is like before he would just kind of throw rocks or do different things. But this is the first time that we've seen power to this scale in order to grab water, and then it uses water itself as a weapon. Like I said, I give it all up for Emilia and Subaru. I was wrong, especially Subaru being, I wouldn't say an idiot. He has some weird takes and some things that he does that's like, why are you acting that way in this moment in time? But he definitely has been showing, as these seasons are progressing, he's been getting powerful, if you want to say, like mentally stronger. Other people are calling upon him as a resource, as an asset, instead of something that's just like, oh, it's Subaru, and then push him aside. Before, I thought it's like, oh, you know, he's the MC, you know, people are gonna naturally latch onto him. But this was the first episode where I've seen like, wow, this is what Subaru's capable of? Okay, all right. You know what, Subaru? Good for you. Good for you. And finally, we'll definitely end this on the talk about Priscilla. The whole Priscilla thing, that I'm glad that she has the mental fortitude to go against Wrath, but with the fact that Wrath knows about her, like knows some history or something about her, that, you know, definitely wasn't something that Priscilla expected. And of course, Wrath's whole thing is to try to like connect hearts, if you will, or just try to get into the nitty gritty of someone. So then that way her spell or authority of whatever you want to say kind of controls them. But, you know, Priscilla was like, yeah, you're not going to work on me. I'll have to admit, if I was up against Wrath, I'll just make sure she can't talk anymore. Because every time they stop, like they're fighting and then they stop, I'm like, why are you stopping? Shut her up. But of course, Priscilla can't attack Wrath because the hostages she has, and until the songstress comes out and is able to make the people, you know, normal, she can't really do a death-dealing or damaging blow against Wrath, so she's kind of holding back a little bit. But until those people kind of get back to normal, I'm sure she's going to go in very hard. But she's kind of at Wrath's mercy because she has to stall. So she can't just sit there and, you know, attack Wrath in the mouth or cut Wrath's like jaw off or anything like that, because it's going to affect the people that are right there. So yeah, Priscilla is at a disadvantage, and then hearing, I guess, what has happened in the past definitely lowered her guard. She got hit by that claw. I don't think it's like actually cut her, but you know, it's of course the angle that it showed there at the after credits there, which I'm surprised there was even an after credit. So if you guys didn't see that, make sure you tune back in. There's like a couple of seconds at the end of the credits. I was caught off guard by the kiss. Like I was not expecting that to happen. And it's like, Lord, hi. It's like, okay, that's one way to break, you know, the spell, have them have extreme emotions, in this case, pleasure. So, hey, you know, good job, Priscilla, by, you know, knowing that, but there's a lot that's still going to be happening. And these next episodes are going to be even more amazing. I can just tell, because the first part of this season, you know, last year, they made sure to set up the building blocks of the season for us to know what's going down. Now they're just like, all right, strap in for this roller coaster because you're going to be in for a ride. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Was it that good of an episode, or was there, another episode that you thought was even better previously? Let me know in the comments down below, but make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. And if you're new here, hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support, but make sure you hit that bell icon so you guys are notified for future videos that are coming out to the channel. You guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.